So we're at Future Net World in London. I'm here with Andrea Donà. He is Chief Network Officer at Vodafone UK. Andrea, thanks for joining us again today. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Ray.
So can you just give us an update on where Vodafone UK is in terms of its 5G rollout, not only in terms of the capacity and the reach of it, but also in terms of where you are with 5G standalone?
Yeah, so we started our 5G journey back in 2019, as you know, Ray. We launched with a clear ambition to build 5G right. We weren't going to compromise on the quality of the 5G. That was also as a result of acknowledging that we had a certain amount of money we could dedicate to our 5G rollout. It's an expensive rollout, it's a capital intensive rollout. And so we had to stretch the money we got to the maximum. So we decided to put 64 by 64 massive MIMO on all our 5G and put it where it matters most, where the customers need that superior throughput and the superior speed, but also to provide an efficient route to expanding for the 4G. We've got sites today that are run out of capacity on the 4G. 5G gives us a really economic leg to be able to expand it. It's also very efficient. For 1 terabyte of data transported on 3G, which we switched off 3G very successfully at the end of February, we're only spending 7% of energy on 5G to transport the same amount of, and in an energy crisis and with a cost crisis, with an inflation pressure, we have to bring 5G that gives us that economic way of providing for our customers and giving that additional capacity. Okay. So we're putting it where it matters. I'd love, being frank with you, I'd love to put it in much more places. That's what we believe the merger is going to do for us. The proposed merger is going to give us the scale to be able to reach out to much more population, more regions in the UK, and not risk being marginalized and regionalized and only being able to invest and not really unlock the true potential that 5G can bring to the UK market, which is £5 billion pounds in terms of economic growth, if we're able to bring 5G. On SA, we went first. We launched first because we wanted to unlock the true inherent value and capability that's in 5G. 5G SA is the true 5G. It's not only about speed, it's about more capacity, it's a better energy efficiency, better life on your mobile battery, and also unlock those new 5G use cases because it brings latency less than 10 milliseconds. And so it's true, the inherent value of 5G is brought to life with 5G SA. We wanted to be the first so that we can unlock some of the use cases like what I explained earlier in the King's coronation. We used a 5G SA slice for broadcasting.
Right.
And we also need to acknowledge that the transition between NSA, non-standalone 5G, and SA is a tricky transition. And you need to get it right because the roadmap, the technology roadmap of SA is lagging behind the NSA. And you don't want to dip in customer experience when migrating from NSA to SA.
Okay. So you mentioned a few things there, and just to clarify, the merger you referenced, that's the merger between Vodafone UK and Free UK, just for some of our international viewers. Now, slicing, being talked about for years, for some people slicing was a bit of a red herring, but now we're starting to hear about actual use cases, but mostly in specific verticals. So broadcast appears to be a bit of a low-hanging fruit for slicing. Is there going to be a use case, do you think, for network slicing across lots of verticals and even in the consumer market?
I think so. I absolutely think so. You talk about low-hanging fruit in the broadcasting industry. I think they are the first, the broadcasting vertical is the first adjacent industry that understood the benefit that 5G SA slicing can bring. Reduce cost to market, much more agile deployment of their cameras, much more the opportunity to go granular in terms of your broadcasting, they have to make choices. Do they go for the big events, or they can actually afford to go to the niche events? They embraced that. They looked at the opportunity and embraced the technology to be able to do that. And we proved with the King's coronation that we can deliver the promise that that technology brings, even in really stressful and important events like that. We've got now a blueprint where we've got the industry to understand the benefit. At the same time, we've experimented with our ecosystem, bringing different companies. In the King's coronation, as an example, we had Vodafone, we had LiveU, who were the modem providers for the broadcast. You had ITN, there's a broadcasting, and we had Ericsson. So we were experimenting, bringing 4 different companies together to resolve a business problem. We also, for the first time, started looking at delivering beyond connectivity. So we can deliver a slice on a SIM now. So it also trains our business colleagues and our sales colleagues to be able to sell beyond connectivity. You can start having a conversation with your business customers on, here's not just a SIM or just a connection, here is a slice on a SIM that enables you quality on demand, quality guaranteed quality of service, a minimum quality on the uplink, like the broadcasting industry. They wanted 10 megabits on the uplink guaranteed during congested periods of the broadcast. We deliver that. So we got now a blueprint that we can replicate for other verticals. You can expand it to industry, manufacturing. You can expand it to gaming. What if I have a button I can select on my phone when I'm about to game, and I need that consistent latency when you want to game? I'm not a gamer, but I hear it's all about consistent latency. It's not the best latency, but the consistent latency. Having that guaranteed latency, and you pay for it. I want to play a game, I'm going to go and play it. I select it, I ask for it, I get it delivered, I use it for that period of time, and then I go off it.
Will the real sort of power of this opportunity come to the fore? You know, let's assume Vodafone UK, Three UK come together. You've got greater reach, more spectrum, more capacity, because if enterprises are going to use it and gamers are going to want to use it, they're going to be able to want to use it absolutely anywhere.
That's exactly it. Ray, you're absolutely correct. The challenge I have today, the limitation of unlocking some of the enterprise revenue we talked about this morning, is if I go to a logistics company and say, I've got this great 5G SA capability I want to sell to you, I can't limit them using it only in the cities. They're a logistics company. Their trucks go to the Outer Hebrides, for example. They go out to the Highlands and Islands. They need to have that capability. Today, I do not have the capital intensity to be able to invest. The merger gives me the scale to do that. I will be able to deliver much more. We're planning to reinvest 11 billion of the synergies that arise from coming together as a company into the network in 10 years. 5 of those ones in the 6 billion in the first 5 years.
Right. Okay.
Where would I get that money if I don't get the merger?
Okay. All right. Strong message there for the CMA. Absolutely. So Vodafone UK, as part of the Vodafone Group, is obviously part of this transition that's been talked about from telco, what telecom operators used to be, to techco, a more sort of cloud-oriented organization. How's that going for Vodafone UK, and what does that mean for the way you're building and running your networks?
We started with a very clear ambition. We would simplify to modernize. So we had 3 pillars. We had to radically simplify our legacy. I talked about it this morning. One of the key lessons is address your legacy head on. It's not going to go away unless you really address it. Once you start radically simplifying, you can start standardizing. Once you start standardizing, you can expose all of the inherent network functions that you want others to self-serve on and expose, so you can start generating revenue streams beyond pure connectivity. And at the same time, you need to modernize. I just talked about 5G SA. You need to modernize and bring the new capability. The challenge is you're having to do all 3. You're having to address the legacy, you're having to standardize, and you're having to invest. And doing that at the scale and at the pace that requires is a challenge. So you're constantly fighting with, do I do my data center rationalization? Do I do my legacy technology rationalization? Or do I do my new capabilities? And you're constantly compromising on the two.
Okay.
We need a situation where I can do both at scale. That would be the ideal situation.
Okay. So you're moving there, but it's step by step, sort of, whatever makes sense in the immediate term.
I think when we talk about telco to techcom and beyond connectivity, I think we need to remind ourselves, and a couple of analysts and panelists talked about it this morning, we must not forget, we're not forgetting connectivity, we're building on the connectivity we've got.
Yeah.
So we're going beyond that, but not forgetting that we're the trusted partner on the connectivity front.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose that, we want to build on that and go beyond that, strong from our heritage of good connectivity providers.
And part of the big thing about this transition is the kind of building new in-house capabilities, developing new skills. What has that meant, in your team? Have you got more developers within the team you have? And how much of that is impacting the way that you're able to build, run, and then expose that network?
We took a strategic decision that for certain things, we need to be owners of our own destiny. We need to be the ones owning that competence, because otherwise, what are we? If you want to become a technology company, which we do, we need to start producing our technology. Now, we can't do that across the board. Partnership is important to augment, to enhance what we're trying to build internally. But we can't just give away our crown jewels. So we've done a process of insourcing of certain capabilities, so we're owners of our destinies. We're not subject to the fluctuations of the market. We can actually own it, and we can also steer it in the direction we want. We're insourcing a lot of our development where it makes sense to do so, and we're partnering where it makes sense to do so. You've heard me in the past, Ray, talk about, it depends. It's a full spectrum of insourcing, outsourcing, depending on where we're not dogmatic in our choices, we're practical in our choices to ensure that we make the right choices.
Okay. So alongside that, of course, you're developing your own cloud strategy, and I'm not talking about offering cloud services, I'm talking about using the cloud as part of the platform that you're developing as a network operator. Can you just talk about that? You have a relationship with Microsoft as part of this. How much are you building as a private cloud? How much are you building that with Microsoft? Are you using public cloud for some capabilities as well?
Yeah, so you've heard that we've divested our IoT business, and we've done that deliberately, consciously and strategically with the intent to say, if it is a separate entity, we can provide that IoT services to all the other operators, and it's not a proprietary IoT platform that only Vodafone can use. We want to open it up. It's the biggest platform in the world. We want others operators to use it. But conscious of that, we need to ensure that we get access to the right ecosystem of developers to be able to create the new applications on that IoT platform that attracts other industries, other verticals.
Okay.
So that's a nice partnership relationship that says, I know what role I'm playing. If I look at the cloud in telco cloud, we're building our own telco cloud so that I can support my business colleagues and my consumer colleagues to turn the handle quickly if we need to react to certain propositions, certain offerings that previously would have taken a year. I can turn them around in weeks and months rather than years. So again, it's a two-pronged approach. I use my partnership with Azure and Microsoft for the IoT front, but I use my own cloud for my own internal one. I use GCP, for example, for my data. For all my data there, I can run my data analytics on the GCP cloud, and I put all my network data there. I can run data analytics on energy consumptions and identify, etc., etc. So it's a multi-pronged approach. What I said again this morning is choose wisely. Roy earlier was talking about choose your marriage. It's like, choose who you marry. Absolutely. You need to be very careful on what you're choosing and then clearly define the role that you play in that relationship. How deep do you go strategically? How broadly are you going with that engagement? Is it very specific on a particular subject? Fine, don't replicate it internally. You've got your partner to do that. And it can't be, in my view, my personal view, it can't be a jack of all trades. So sometimes when we're talking to some of my colleagues earlier, we've all come out with press releases and you read them and they all feel the same. And everyone's doing more or less the same. Hopefully behind that news press release, there's actually very detailed engagement strategy and alignment of the strategies to say, I'll do this and you do that.
Okay. And as part of this sort of evolution to a new platform that you can use, how does what you're doing in terms of your early Open RAN moves play into that? Because this is a new kind of infrastructure, it's more IT based. As that develops, will that become part of a sort of broader IT capability that you'll be able to use in other ways as well? Absolutely. And not just for the RAN?
Completely agree. For the naysayers and for the detractors, I'm not a naysayer detractor of Open RAN. I'm a big supporter of Open RAN. But let's take a different point of view, just for the sake of being provocative. Even if you do not promote Open RAN, surely it's a vehicle through which you can use to transform your operations. Our networks, regardless, are becoming delayered, multi-vendored, open and interoperable. It begs the question, is that the 6G world we're embracing? There won't be a new radio access technology. At least nothing's coming out of academia to suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
So it will be something based on the OFDM technology. All the previous Gs based on a new radio access technology, CDM, CDMA, OFDM, etc., etc. If there isn't a new radio access technology coming out of academia, you can assume that 6G will be the current radio access technology with the intelligence overlay we constantly talk about. Self-defining networks, SON, self-operating networks, automation, zero touch, Gen AI, brilliant. 6G. How are we going to get ready for that? Open RAN presents a beautiful vehicle to do so, because for its very nature, it's a cloud native, cloud based. It's the stack that we've deployed in Vodafone is multi-vendor, and it's open and interoperable, and you have to have all of them working. Now, it's not easy, I get it, but if you can crack it, you're ready for the new 6G world. Now, in the meantime, we're doing it to provide the much needed diversity in the ecosystem of suppliers, because we need new entrants. Currently, we have two major ones we can use, and we need more of that optionality in the market. But if in doing so, you're also preparing yourself for 6G, it's a win-win.
Okay. And just remind us where you are in terms of the Open RAN rollout. You've had the cluster down in the southwest of England, where you've been kind of almost proving what is possible. But what's happening in the rest of the Vodafone?
So we've passed that. So we've passed the proof of concept. We've met the criteria to enter into mass deployment. So we've overcome that. It's ticked all the boxes. It's met the minimum criteria in terms of performance, the radio performance, etc. And now it's an option on the menu. So I can choose Open RAN in the same way as I can choose 5G, in the same way as I can choose additional carriers on 4G. So when I do my capital allocation review on a yearly basis, I can decide, well, how much Open RAN do I need to do? How much 5G do I need to do? And it's only a factor of the money I've got. Now, I'd love to do more Open RAN, but because of the return on investment I have, and the fact that the cost of capital is greater than my return, I only have that amount of money to spend in over. If I had more, I would do more, and I'll swap it out faster and bring more into the market.
Okay. But you see this as a real learning curve, something building for the future, providing experience that
Absolutely.
otherwise wouldn't be able to
We
get.
took the role to be our own system integrators. We're trying to stitch together Samsung, NEC, Dell, Wind River. We have got partners like Keysight and Capgemini. So we've got a good ecosystem of technology partners. We have to get them to work together. And also in the future world where, as I said earlier, we have to wake up to the fact that the world in which the whole pie is mine has gone.
Right, yeah, yeah.
We have to work together to collaborate so that we create that pie. And there's a big opportunity out there, but acknowledge that we will only get a part of that pie. But if that part of the pie is part of a big pie,
Yeah.
then we're all winners.
Yeah.
You can sit there wanting the whole pie and not get anything,
Yeah.
or work together to create that opportunity and have our fair share of that pie.
Yeah. And scale brings a lot to everybody, doesn't it? So.
Absolutely.
And just one final thing, obviously we've been talking mostly here about cloud platforms and the mobile, the RAN network, but of course fiber plays an absolutely critical role not only in supporting the RAN but also as a service enabler itself. What does Vodafone UK's fiber network asset look like? And how are the partnerships you're developing around that working for you in terms of what you can deliver to customers?
I wish again I had the capital to continue expanding on my current footprint. I do that to a good extent, but not as much as I would like. Therefore, had to be realistic, and our strategy had to be a asset-light strategy, partnering with the likes of City Fibre and BT Openreach. At the same time, I need to be very careful at my ongoing OpEx costs. For every new circuit I order to service my network, it's additional OpEx. So I've got this constant balancing act to say, if I've got the CapEx, I will invest the CapEx to introduce my own circuits. And this year has been a successful year. The year just completed, been a successful year in rolling out the highest number of fiber connections for my own purpose, for my own build, and for my enterprise customers. If I had more money, I'd do more, acknowledging that on the consumer side, I don't have the CapEx to meet the demand of consumers. So we've partnered very successfully with City Fibre and Openreach, and now we have the biggest fiber footprint in terms of FTTP. Fiber to the premise, customers, and we can sell fiber to the consumer, and we're the fastest growing HBB provider because of that.
Right.
But I'm playing different games. On the network side and on the enterprise, I'm also connecting my own fiber. I'd love to do more though, if I had the money.
Right.
It's all about the money.
Hey, I'd buy some more coffee machines if I had the money as well, but that's another story. Andrea, great to catch up with you. Thanks very much for
Thanks very
joining us
much, Ray.
today.
Thank you
Good
very
to
much.
see you. Thanks very much.
Cheers.